Hey everybody, Relay here. Today we have something pretty damn special to show you. Bandai Namco has just released the latest trailer for Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, and it is a story trailer which kind of gives us an insight using a series of cutscenes into what we're looking at, what kind of world we're looking at in the atmosphere. And I can tell you, man, I've never been more hyped for this. And I try to take it in moderation whenever I see stuff like this because I know it's not reflecting of the actual gameplay. But you can't help but feel a sense of like hopelessness and like a sense of awe when you watch this trailer. It's incredible. But before I show you the trailer, for those of you who aren't aware, Armored Core 6 is the newest installment of games made by FromSoftware and Bandai Namco, where it's much more fast-paced than what you're used to. Most of you are probably familiar with Elden Ring and Dark Souls over the last few years. But before those games came out, there was a game called Armored Core, which is, in a nutshell, a mech fighting game where you can assemble your mech, customize your mech entirely. And it's very fast-paced, kind of high-octane combat. So it's not... for those of you who are looking for a sense of familiarity with Dark Souls and stuff, it's just not... It's not the same at all. It's a lot more aggressive and honestly gets adrenaline going probably more than any other Souls-like game will. It's just really involved, and I'm really looking forward to Armored Core 6 as it is. But we'll go over the trailer real quick, and we'll watch the trailer, and I'll kind of see what I can pick out from there and see how things are kind of feeling. I'm pretty impressed with the story trailer anyways.
You again. You know, I'm not exactly craving company here.
Hounds now entering combat zone. Initiating phase 2.
So what happened to 617 and the others? Fill me in, Admiral Walter. Well, at least you're helping me clear my inventory.
Vital signs lost. Recalculating approach vector.
This one is functional, but don't expect much more.
I'm not here to talk. Wake it up. Signal lost.
Like, goddamn, man. I don't know about you guys, but when you watch that kind of stuff, you can't help but get a little bit excited about the game. Now, obviously, like I said earlier, we got to take it with a grain of salt. It doesn't translate exactly over to the gameplay, but those cutscenes themselves makes it look really, really badass. And let's just go back and kind of explore a little bit in the first few shots here and see what we can pick out.
You again. You know, I'm not exactly craving company here.
So, I mean, obviously we can see, according to the lore of what we know so far with the game, the Armored Core pilots, or maybe the Hounds, they're fighting in a war to control this planet's resources, which I'd imagine who they're up against are other mechs. Not necessarily always in the same format, but they also want control of the resources in the planet. And so you're locked in some kind of war. Holy shit, that's a massive cannon. Like, that's ridiculous.
So what happened to 617 and the others? Fill me in, Handler Walter.
So maybe, like they said just now, they just mentioned Handler Walter. Maybe they call the pilots handlers and the ACs hounds in this case. The mechs that they're piloting are called hounds. And right off the hop, you can hear from the very monotone language in the voice that there's a lot of doom and gloom here. And the people behind whatever this orchestrated attack was, they're probably not the greatest people. They're all fighting over this planet's resources, and it can be assumed that there's no real good guy in this story. But obviously that remains to be seen. Like, oh man. I mean, obviously, it's not hard to make out. This is looking at a superior view of this dude's cranium. He's got some kind of device tapped into him. Just interesting to kind of dissect it a little bit.
Clear my inventory.
Vital signs lost.
One thing that they didn't have in the prior Armored Core games that I remember is the shield. I don't remember them ever having shields, which is kind of a cool addition because you are going to be taking a lot of fire as the game is completely focused on pushing and being as aggressive as possible. So it's nice to see that they employed like some kind of defensive mechanism.
Recalculating approach vector.
Like even their monologue, their speech, it's all like very cold, very strategic. Like the dude just lost a pilot, 619, and he couldn't be bothered at all. Like he just doesn't give a shit. It's almost like they were brainwashed to be pilots because they don't care about anything else. Either that or they know they're maybe headed for a certain death. Who knows? Holy shit. Like, that's a badass boss.
Functional, but don't expect much more.
So exactly. So we've got, I don't know, what could be maybe a scientist or a physician looking after this person's vitals who is obviously incapacitated. Probably not dead, assuming the fact that they're monitoring vitals on him. But you can see on the little tablet, you might not be able to see it super clearly, but there's a little blood pressure down there that says about like 128/67 or something like that. So they're monitoring vitals, and I guess they're trying to gather information from these corpses or maybe try to get them to pilot again. But I don't think many of them are going to be well enough to pilot. Interesting though.
Talk. Wake it up.
Wake it up. Maybe he's in some kind of comatose. Man, just so sick.
Signal lost.
just like a feeling of despair here. The dude's run out of options, obviously. He's got no arms.
Parameters. Phase 3, pattern E.
That's got to be some kind of suicide bomb, like an EMP or some sort. Now I'm assuming the two forces that we saw fighting against each other here are just two different mercenary corporations trying to control the planet's resources or trying to get some of the planet's resources. So being that it's so valuable, obviously you're against a bunch of different enemies. So it makes sense as to why they'd be fighting against each other. There goes all three there. Now that's what I was saying earlier. It looks like they're, I don't know, this device is foreign to me. Looks like it could possibly be the ear of someone. It's hard to say, but it's plugged into something, and I'm assuming its purpose is to reanimate or maybe tap into the memories of someone or something. I don't know. Just some weird looking machine. I don't want that thing in me.
621. I'll give you a reason to resist. Let's get to work.
Damn. Looking pretty intimidating. Can't wait. So even at the end there, you heard him refer to the pilot as 621. So if you remember earlier, there was 620, 619, and I think 617. And I mean, if that doesn't tell you that you're just a number, I don't know what does. So obviously they don't really care about their pilots. And it's gotta be for greed. Just some very ominous feelings about this. It's gonna be not a very lighthearted game, I don't think. But nonetheless, I'm really excited for it. It's looking like it's going to be quite a good game. And I've played a few other Armored Cores in the past, and I can say that I haven't been this excited for a game in a little while. But aside from that, as far as speculations go, I think you're potentially Pilot 621 or Handler 621, which would make sense considering the trailer ends on them introducing 621 after 620, 619, and 617 all were incapacitated. So I don't think there's going to be any protagonist or any good guy in the story. I think, like I mentioned a few times before already, that everybody here is considered a bit of a bad guy because we're all fighting for the planet's resources. Anything for a nice chunk of change or a power. And I think going forward that'll be the narrative. I don't really see any way that you can kind of become the good guy, but obviously I don't know the story, as this is kind of just like a sneak peek. So maybe things change with the story and you decide your character decides to be the good guy. Who knows? But anywho, I am pretty excited for this, and yeah, maybe you should be too. Take her easy.